All right, welcome back to the boys of 161st Street. Yankees have swept the Rangers 3-0, which felt like it was kind of easy, but I was sitting behind home plate, so maybe that's why it felt kind of easy. More on that later. Yankees about to get into a big series against the Red Sox, and then right after that, you get another off day, and then they get our series against the Blue Jays. Hopefully that matters, because, I mean, if we get swept, that would suck, but if we do the sweeping, that would be cool as well. So, Yankees are hot in the streets right now, and I'm excited about watching these games, and honestly, we talked about this before, multiple episodes ago, that if the Yankees somehow played the Red Sox in the wild card, which it was looking like it at the time, that would be the best game that we would ever see in our lives, probably, because they've never played in the wild card. These 3 games, I genuinely feel this way. They are gonna feel exactly like wild card games, no more, no less. Honestly, even if we do end up playing the Red Sox in the wild card after this, God willing, we end up making it there, I don't think it's going to be any step down from what we're about to see, because both teams have their playoff lives on the line right here, right now. So it's going to feel exactly like that for 3 games. Arguably, some of the best baseball is ahead of us this weekend. And I'm going to be very, very drunk for the entire thing, because my body can't handle the stress. So I'm going to
God you stopped the
the 75 hard is I'm still working out and all that, drinking the water, reading books, but
but just not now you can enjoy baseball again.
Yeah, no, the pumpkin beers are flowing. Montauk pumpkin with a nice little.
Ooh, congrats on the fall.
No, fall's in full effect in this apartment. You don't understand. You will understand this weekend. Chandler's on his way down to New York City this weekend, so that's just a little bit on
the way
us.
Down from Florida.
Yeah, coming up.
I said down.
It's one of my bigger pet peeves for no reason.
I just don't care.
I could see that being a pet peeve.
Like, I hate when people say, "Oh yeah, I'm going up to Florida," or like like from New York. I'm like, no, you're going down to Florida. It's so stupid, but whatever.
You really care that much about that?
I don't really care. It's just like I feel the need to correct people when they say it. Like for some reason I'm just like, no, you mean you're going down. And
no, I feel like it legitimately bothers you. Like when I said it to Luke, I was definitely like, I was just giving him a hard time because he tried to fuck me in fantasy football the other day. So
watch your words.
I think the world would agree. But Damon, I feel like you would actually be upset about that. Not upset, but enough to like say something.
What I just did. It was enough to make me say something.
But I'm saying to like somebody you don't know. Like if some guy in the street was like,
oh yeah, I've done it before.
And was like, yeah, hey babe, do you want to go down or up to Florida next weekend? Just like in passing, like slam on the brakes of your bike, like,
No, right. I was giving directions one time to a stranger in New York City, and I had to correct them because they said up and down, and I was whatever.
I mean, if you're telling somebody who needs directions, you can't get mad at them for saying up and down.
Why not?
Incorrectly.
Why not?
No, David's just cussing.
Like me saying going from Florida down to New York is obviously a problem.
Right, but
if you're telling somebody directions, you can't get mad at them.
I can get a little mad.
Okay. Let's talk about the Yankees a little bit.
Don't tell me what to do.
Have a nice day. Don't tell me what to do. You're a real one if you get that reference. So Luis Severino pitches for the first time since 2019. That was pretty damn cool. He did great. He went 2 innings. He had high socks.
That was part of it.
No, he gained like 40 pounds.
He did look heavier too. Was it muscle or fat or mix?
I don't know. I texted our Yankees insider Brandon Lockridge, and he did not answer. But it's probably because I texted him at midnight and he was driving in a hurricane. But
yeah,
I also feel like his.
I'm gonna say muscle. Like Michael K. and whoever.
It's a pretty good excuse to get deaded.
Huh?
That's a New York term. You wouldn't understand.
No, I wouldn't.
You got ghosted.
I was gonna say I feel like his delivery looked different, but I also don't know if that was just due to not watching him pitch in 2 years.
Yeah, I think that was more it. What threw me off the most was the high socks. I think he looked like absolute shit with high socks.
Dude, yeah, I think he literally. I don't think it's the high socks. I legitimately think it's because it's the high socks coupled with the fact that he gained so much weight. I think it's muscle.
I hope it's muscle. He looked good.
That's what Kay was saying, was that was muscle. So, but
what did he hit? 95.
Yeah, he was sitting 95.
He averaged 94.5.
All right, not bad.
Which
that'll only go up.
He's pitched 21 innings in 3 years, I would say that's pretty damn good.
Yeah. So, I mean, tendering our expectations, we were talking about that in the last episode. I don't think anything changes for me after seeing it one time through. I mean, bullpen is still probably in the works. I still don't see him, even after seeing him do this. I don't see him having a start at any point. Even if we go deep into the playoffs, I still don't see enough time. I mean, it's September 23rd.
No.
There's just not enough time for him to build up.
The fact that he didn't play any rehab games is why I don't think he's going to start. Like, he came out of the pen because he was just doing the sim games in New York. And like, well, fuck it, it's either now or never. Like, we have 9 games left. You're either coming up now and you're pitching out of the bullpen, or you're not pitching this season. So,
well, that's what we were saying.
I don't even think it's a matter of being built up. I think it was like something that they came to an agreement with, like, before the whole thing happened. It's just like, look, after this setback, you got 2 options. It's pitch out of the bullpen or fucking nothing. Take your pick. It's like, all right, well, he said he would even play like center field, so I think he's ready to go. And
we were saying last episode that we like the outs are better served in the majors. Like, there's no point in having any rehab starts for him, Tyone, Domingo, etc. So like that is obviously what they did. So, I'm happy that he came up and he's getting. I mean, you know what? A game against Texas is basically a rehab start, as close to it as it gets in the majors in real time, while offering innings and like all that and support for the actual team that is currently in the playoff race. So like that's important in its own. I hope they treat Tyone and Domingo the same way Domingo obviously has already come up. I mean, just Tyone and Loaiza, just like get them up. No rehab, nothing. It doesn't fucking matter. We have how many games left?
We have 9 games left. There's no time for rehab.
There's
now.
no rehab.
Also, here's the thing: we need more help in the bullpen anyway. So if Sevy can come and be like a reliable bullpen arm, then it's arguably more valuable to us than him starting a few games.
There's no reason why I should ever see Andrew Heaney pitch. There's no reason why I should see Andrew Heaney pitch at all.
No, Andrew Heaney needs to be just.
I think we've seen the last of it.
He needs to be put down. But
I think he will retire.
Good, thank God. Good.
I think we've seen the last one.
I wouldn't want Andrew Heaney on my softball team, and we were the worst team in the league. But I think
mine too.
The bullpen and the pitching staff in general, whenever we get Tyone and Loaiza back, that's going to be real. I just hope we can make it to the playoffs to see it. Because then out of the pen, you've got Mike King, who has been like literally stat-wise the best reliever on the Yankees this year. He flies over the radar. He's so good. So you got Sevy, Mike King, and Loaiza out of the bullpen. Then I don't have to watch Chad Green come in and give up a fucking nuke after Glaber eats a baseball at second. And then
did you notice Chad Green hit like 98?
He was really
really
good.
He's never done that before.
Yeah, he has.
He doesn't do that. He was a guy who was sat at like low to mid 90s, and he was touching like 98, 99.
The year that he came in to relieve Sevy in the wild card, he was hitting like 97. Either way, it doesn't fucking matter. I'm going
to fact check that, but
he literally, the last strikeout of the inning was at 98. I've watched the highlight probably 255 times.
Whatever.
But either way, I still have no faith in Chad Green at a clutch spot.
He's gonna get a very high leverage innings. So
I know he is, but you saw the stats. Like, I literally give you.
No, I know. I'm not disagreeing
I'm just saying that
these are the cards we're dealt.
The people that are coming back right here give me hope, because I hope that we're not so fucking blind to still use him. When you have Mike King and you have Loaiza and even Sevy, I know he isn't proven, but his track record in his career, I've said it for months now, and I'll continue to say it till the day that I fucking die, that he is a good bullpen pitcher. Like, he's better served as a starter, but he got his career back on track as a bullpen pitcher. He's kind of like Loaiza. When he sucked and he got sent down and brought back up, they're like, well, maybe he's the next closer of the Yankees. Maybe he's not a starter. This is maybe his MO is being a relief pitcher. He can do it. He's proven it.
That's let me play Would You Rather. Let me play Would You Rather right now with you. Something you said sparked this. So, would you rather in a playoff game? I don't care the situation. Chad Green or Mike King?
Mike King.
Chad Green or Domingo?
Chad Green.
You'd really like Mike King over Chad Green?
Oh my god, yeah.
Dude, my king has looked really, 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 really good.
Yeah, but there's been a lot of moments
out of
where
the bullpen yet. Knock on wood.
I'd have to check it, but none that make me want to send him to the sun.
Okay, let me ask you this: has Chad Green had any moments this year that have wanted you to send him to the sun?
I mean, he's on the sun, isn't he?
He is
Yeah,
the sun.
that's because he had 4 straight games where he gave up the go-ahead home run.
What's the current population of the sun? We haven't had any movement there recently. But
I think it's Jonathan Davis, Nick Nelson, Brooks Kriske, who is an Oriole now, Jay Bruce, Chad Green, Gary Sanchez. I think that's it.
So we didn't mention that since who's an Oriole now?
Kriske.
Yeah, so he is the second graduate of the Sun, but he's kind of the first because
he's the third.
Well, no, because Sessa got off right before he got sent to to Cincinnati. So like that's perfect for him. You love to see that out of him because like exactly what happened to Kriske is like he's never coming off the Sun. He's now he's got his picture just on the Sun. He's there forever. He's gonna live out his days in infamy on the Sun because there's no way of getting him off. Sessa, like the week before or the episode before he got traded, he got off. And that was not due to the fact we didn't think he was going to get traded at all. We didn't do that out of pity. He just got off on his own and then he got traded. So he basically, I mean, for lack of a better word, can ride out into the sunset and just like live out his days as Cincinnati Red, which by the way, I don't know if everybody's probably seen the numbers by now. We posted them on Instagram and Twitter. Sessa has like a 1.2 ERA since becoming a Red, and I know that really like Chandler's punching air at that, but I mean,
keep saying that like he's pitching in the NL Central. Congrats! Like I
mean, the Brewers are good. The Reds are
the Cardinals are good. The
Cardinals have won like 12 in a row, so I don't know what you're talking about.
And the Pirates.
They also don't only play the NL Central; they play other teams, and it's like the entire second half of the year he's been. Regardless, we could absolutely use him right now. Let's play a little bit more of Would You Rather. Would you rather with Chad Green or Sessa? Knowing now his numbers.
Is forfeiting an option?
For you, yeah.
Also, can I say one thing real quick about Kriske? I think that being traded to the Orioles is worse than an actual human going on the Sun. So he got what he deserved. So a perfect fitting for a perfect villain.
Yeah.
But also, I feel like a Sessa situation is just one of those things where like he left and then became like good, kind of like what Sonny Gray did, where like he was good, came to New York, sucked, and then left New York and then was good again.
Sessa, I thought Sessa was homegrown.
Yeah, but I'm saying like it's just a case of leaving the Yankees and then becoming good.
Yeah,
sure.
I think he finally became what he was supposed to be. He was supposed to be an awesome reliever. Actually, I'm pretty sure he came up as a starter.
He did come up as a starter.
Either way, he clearly couldn't handle New York. He started to come into his own. He's still fucking.
Why is it that everybody who can't handle New York we send to Cincinnati? By that I mean dude, just send away.
My dad's a Cincinnati fan, and he literally since I can remember talking to him about baseball, he's called the Reds the Yankees like 4A team.
As always, we would love it if you guys could take this time to take a little break, and if you guys could leave us a 5-star rating on iTunes, we'd really appreciate it. Usually I say this at the end of the episode, but I'd probably better to get it out of the way now. If you give us a 5-star rating on iTunes, if we have 265 5-star ratings by the next episode, I will, as I always say, eat a baseball. You guys have not held me to that because you guys haven't gotten it done. If you guys are on the app, on Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, you swipe down and give us a 5-star rating, I will swallow a baseball whole. So that would be fun to watch. Subscribe to the YouTube. Just look up Bronx Pinstripes YouTube. It's on there. We do the episodes live on there the night before. That's always fun. And follow us on Instagram and Twitter at the 161 Boys. Do you want to get into two truths and a lie?
Yeah, I mean, I've been waiting for this moment since like 10 a.m.
Yeah, so this is a new segment that I wanted to do with you guys. Obviously, people have played Two Truths and a Lie before in their lives. So I wanted to do a little bit of a Yankees version, a little bit of a taste of what's happened this entire year. I feel like this is a good time to play this game, and maybe let's see if it can fit its way into the rest of this podcast. But For right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read out the 3 statements. They're statements like whatever. I don't need to explain them. I read out the 3 things, and you two are going to act as a team, and you're going to try and diagnose which of them is the lie and which 2 are the 2 truths. And you guys can disagree or agree or whatever you want to do, but basically just pour your brain onto the canvas here and let us know your thoughts. And yeah, so first up, Nestor Cortez has a higher WAR than Jonathan Loaizaga is the first one. The second one is Gleyber Torres has the second most go-ahead hits on the team from the 8th inning on. And the third one being Kyle Higashioka has more barrels than Joey Gallo on the Yankees this year in the same amount of plate appearances.
I know my gut, not gut. I looked up Loaizaga's WAR like a month ago, so I'm gonna go with the first one as the lie, the Nestor Loaizaga one. And the only reason
you know
that
what
I'm
Nestor's WAR is, though?
You're saying Nestor Cortez's WAR is lower than Loaizaga's?
doing last I checked, Loaizaga's was a 4.6, I believe, which is pretty fucking good. Last I checked, Loaizaga led all of major. Last time I checked, when I checked a month ago, when I checked a month ago, Loaizaga led the majors in reliever WAR. So
I'm using Fangraphs WAR. I don't know if that's different, but it's certainly not 4 point whatever you just said. But
well, whatever the number was, whenever I checked, Loaizaga was the number 1 reliever in the league by WAR.
He's also missed time, so I mean, I'm not going to direct you guys. You guys are a team.
Literally,
so you guys.
It was a month ago. That's why I'm telling you this is my guess. I don't think that Nestor Cortez could have jumped him that fast. Higgy, I believe.
That's just been getting innings, so I don't know. This is my game to play. Damon, what do you think?
I think that for one, I think the Higashioka one's true for sure.
Higgy has more barrels than Joey Gallo?
Yes, 100%.
In the same amount of plate appearances.
Yes, I 100%
that's
agree
too
with
random
that.
of a stat to not be.
One, that's too random, and 2, Higashioka had he just goes on runs where he he just goes on tears.
I feel like every ball Higashioka hits, when he hits it, is a fly out to like deep center.
Yeah, he only hits doubles and home runs. That's all he does.
Yeah, Luke, you pipe down. This is Damon and I to discuss
all
this.
Right, go ahead.
So, and I think that, again, a good point where that's like such a random thing where I feel like that has to be true. The Gleyber thing I can see being true because I feel like
dude, he's always been clutch.
He's always had those clutch moments, and he's always kind of pulled through. So
I feel like that's the most truthiest one of all of them.
You think so?
Yeah, 100%.
Truthiest one of all.
But here's the thing, though. I think like the Nestor Cortez one could 100% be true too.
I really think it's the Nestor one. That's my final answer.
That's a lie. That's a lie.
I think that's the lie. Is that Nestor has a higher WAR than Loaizaga?
I'm gonna say that the Gleyber one's a lie.
Final answer.
Because you know why? I think that Luke is taking last game as like a topic discussion to make us feel like he has more, and that it's just like a relevancy thing.
With Gleyber?
Well, yeah. Gleyber's hitting 320 something in the
last
moving
month.
to second, and also in the since coming off the IL, he's hitting like 290 something.
I will be honest. Gleyber has that stat. Since you guys have locked in your answers, that stat is what sparked this segment. So that is true. I saw that segment and I was like, wow, that's such a stat that I almost wouldn't believe that I wanted to start. I just was bored at work and I found 2 more that could be borderline believable, not believable, and to make this into a segment. I thought this was fun. I think let us know, DM us or something, let us know if you guys enjoyed this. We're going to keep doing it. But the answer was Nestor Cortez. You're right. So Nestor Cortez has a not slightly. It's a pretty big gap between him and Loaizaga, which I thought I didn't think you would snipe that so early. I mean, I guess you looked it up.
Well, the reason is because I wrote an article about Loaizaga for BP like literally right before he went on the IL, and I knew it.
What are the WAR differences?
Well, the WAR. I use Fangraphs WAR. I don't know. 4 something is a lot. I don't know if that's very off. The Fangraphs WAR was 2.2 versus Nestor Cortez's 1.5. regardless, relatively, you see the difference. I use the same type of war for both of them. So that's a fairly big gap between the two. I thought there was reason for you guys to me personally, when I saw that, I was like, wow, those are two names. Like I just looked at the war leaders for the relievers, and I was like, an argument could be made for Nestor Cortez. I mean, the year he's had, the role he's had, he hasn't missed time like Loaizaga has, and he's been a starter, getting outings where he has 100 and something pitches, and he's going 6 innings like that. There's an argument that could be made, and honestly, I'm a little bit shocked by those numbers, especially considering Loaizaga has been out for a month. That I'm shocked that it isn't the reverse of that.
Had I not looked it up literally like a couple weeks ago, I would not have picked that, because I agree with you. I think Nestor has been so. I mean, he's just like rock solid. Was he got like a 2.7 something ERA? He's
Something like
been
that.
he's been so good for this team, and he's not just the opener anymore. When he first started, he was the 1 inning opener. We're like, oh hey, look at Nestor. That's well, the guy with the mustache is doing it. Like, and now he's a legitimate like 3-starter on this team, or a 4-starter, I guess. But either way,
people are saying that he should start the wild card game if we go to a game 163, and Nestor is probably going to get that nod in the wild card. I mean, say that him or Monty. We talked about this last episode before while you were in Utah, but I mean, there's an argument that can be made. I think it would still be Monty if let's say we do go to game 163. I think it would still be Monty in the wild card, but there's definitely an argument to be made that Nestor Cortez gets that ball.
Let me tell you this. I'll put it this way. So for what's our rotation for this weekend? Cole, Nestor, and Monty. I would say we're going 5.
The matchups this weekend are Cole versus Evaldi, Nestor versus Nick Pivetta, and Montgomery versus Erod.
Okay, so our rotation is going 5-1-2 this weekend.
What?
Garrett Cole's the 5-starter. Nestor is our ace. And then
okay.
I will say this though. Like, obviously, I don't mean that about Garrett Cole. He had one bad start. It is what it is. He probably lost to Cy Young there, but
You think
will say this. Oh, he 100% did. Unless he throws a perfect game.
What do you think, Robbie Ray?
Robbie Ray's got. Garrett Cole's start was so bad and so recent that it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think the recency is gonna fuck him up.
He's got time to make it up, though.
He's got 2 major starts left. He's slotted for 1 game against the Red Sox and 1 against the Blue Jays that are both going to be crucial to a playoff. I think for him to win a Cy Young, he's going to have to go 7+ in both. Probably give up 2 or less combined in those 2, and strike out 20 or 30 combined. I think that's his only shot, and Ray's going to have a bad start somewhere in there.
I haven't really been paying attention to Ray, but
I think that's a little extreme. I feel like I feel like if he just has like, a quality start tomorrow and then like his start against the Blue Jays, I wouldn't say that he's completely out of it.
Robbie Ray went 7 shutout and struck out 13 against the Rays in his last start.
All right,
cool. And Cole subsequently the next day gave up.
Yes, but the award is for 162 games, not the last 5.
It doesn't matter. Damn it.
Yes,
we've watched it. It doesn't. No, it doesn't. We've watched how the voters react to stuff.
Regardless, we've talked about this enough. I honestly don't care. I want to make the playoffs.
Agree, brother.
We'll figure this out when the time comes. This isn't decided till the season's over. So
so my point was that I was actually going to make before we got into that was that Nestor Cortez, every time he takes him out, I'm like weirdly confident that he's going to turn in 5 really ugly innings of like 2 feet behind the mound, headbutting the ball to the catcher, but with like less than 3 runs. He's up there with Monty as somebody that I expect to go into the middle of the game and give me 3 or less. Every time. And if you told me that a year ago, I would have told you to literally go fuck yourself, and that Nestor Cortez would be pitching for the Orioles AAA team. So
I agree.
Hats off to you, Nestor, and your mustache.
Yeah, no, I know we've talked about Nestor for a large amount of this podcast. Like, he's a name. When you think about the names that come up in conversation on this podcast, I've mentioned before, like, guys like Joely Rodriguez have maybe come up one time, and that was only because I mentioned how he's never come up before. And we've talked a lot about Nestor Cortez, but I can't stress enough Like the season is now, the regular season is coming to a close, and Nestor Cortez has had a full blown year, not reliever numbers too, like borderline starter numbers, and he's had a full ass year where he's done this. And I feel like the entire time we've been waiting and waiting and waiting for him to just become the pumpkin that we think he is,
Yep.
and he just hasn't. And it's just like, what the fuck?
I would say he is a pumpkin.
Like,
We're all pumpkin
he's getting
fans here.
he didn't have a roll call episode going into this year. I think
No,
he
he
was
wasn't on
signed
the team
after.
going-
Yeah, I think he was
Yeah,
signed
yeah.
after we did the roll calls, and then we were, even if he was signed before, we wouldn't have done a roll call for him. Like, we do for those who are just tuning in for the first time, we do roll calls for every individual player on the Yankees. We do like a little preview forecast and like talk about what they did prior on the team. There's no way we're giving him an individual episode. We borderline didn't give Loizaga. I think Loizaga shared an episode with somebody.
He shared one with Sessa, and it was It was.
Isn't it cool just to see that, like
Yeah.
how much has
Progression of
changed
that.
since then?
Yeah.
Remember
and
the
we were
Jay
all
Bruce,
we were
Derek
all
Dietrich, and
yeah, and Guardy.
and,
We were all on the same page there with all of these things too. I'm gonna go back to that document and see where we're at, like for all those, and just see how wrong we were. I mean, we thought Clint Frazier. I remember looking at the analytics on that episode. The Clint Frazier episode we put out was the most listened to episode of all the roll calls, and that just goes to show you that we weren't the only ones that were on the Clint Frazier train. When he walked into spring training wearing that newspaper T-shirt, like the Yankees newspaper win the World
bought
Series
that
T-shirt,
Mhm.
I bought that shirt because
a lot of people did, and I got hyped. And Clint Frazier,
Boy, did he live up to it.
oh, he lived up to the hype. All right, I mean, he almost made his
Poor
way
guy.
into. He almost. I was looking for stats to put into Two Truths and a Lie for him, and there was the barrels one was Clint was in there, but I figured Higashioka was like a less believable thing because Clint, when he was in, would be somebody who it wouldn't be against Joey Gallo, but I don't know. I wanted to work him in there. Honestly, an extra fun fact that didn't make it to Two Truths and a Lie. I'll just ask you guys whether or not this is true or not. We'll do a bonus round. Lucas Licky has a higher WAR than Aroldis Chapman.
No.
No.
He does. So
Bull ass.
yeah, I figured you guys would.
Bull
I
ass.
feel like you guys would absolutely have guessed that because of the way I phrased it.
No, I definitely would have, but then I was like just sheer reactionary. I don't believe it. Like,
Yeah, no, I didn't.
I actually
That's
saw
wild.
something today that was.
Licky has been one of
I
our
don't-
most reliable relievers.
I know. I don't. I disagree. I read something today, and I
It's a
don't
fact.
know.
Quite
I
literally a
don't
fact.
know who said it, but they were talking about Licky's ERA and stuff. His numbers are so low because he doesn't give up extra, but he usually comes in with inherited runners and always lets the inherited runners score.
I mean, that could be the case. But that may be a reason why his ERA is not inflated. But
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
but the
That's why his
war
ERA is not inflated.
the war numbers are. I mean, Aroldis Chapman, must you forget, he's had that earlier month of the season where he absolutely just collected WAR at that time when he was the best reliever on
He
the
had
planet.
one bad month.
And he's been great we talked about it the last episode too, when you were just absent, and he was
Yeah, I was at my friend's wedding.
and he was Chapman's
dare you.
been awesome for and that's perfect for us because if we do make the playoffs and Chapman wasn't pitching well, we're in a world of hurt, especially with Loizaga coming out. That would be probably what we'd be talking about right now. That I would have wrote that down as a topic for conversation of like, what are we gonna do in the 8th and 9th inning of the wild card game? Who's closing?
I actually have
because
some
we
stats
would have
real quick.
Loizaga coming off injury, and we would have what distrust in Chapman. But I'm all in on Chapman being that guy because he's been
No,
fine.
I have some numbers to actually back this up, if you don't mind. I know you talked about it last episode, but if you'll allow me to have the stage for a second,
By all means,
I'd like to let you know why I actually do believe in Chapman. I know that he is kind of a hot button issue for Yankees fans, but the way he's mixed his pitches, like he's become a true pitch pitcher, right? He's got his fastball, he's got his slider, and he's got his splitter now. He's never really had the splitter. He introduced it late last year, right? This year, when he was using his fastball the lowest, 58% of the time, was that month I think it was from June 1st to July 4th. So that's when Chapman just abandoned his fastball, lost all confidence in it. That's when he had all the blown saves. It started with the Twins and went from there. Then Matt Blake went and fucked with his stance and everything. He stands taller now. Since then, he's throwing 64% fastballs. And in that same time, he went from 6% to 10% on splitters, and then do the math on the sliders, whatever. And then in his dominant month in like April, May, whatever, he was also using 66% fastballs. So the point is, he's learning his pitch mix and he's starting to factor the splitter in more. He's getting more confident in it. And to me, I think a combination of learning a new pitch and tinkering with your windup, I know he throws from the stretch, but you know what I mean, has like kind of gave him those rocky starts or those rocky appearances as far as throwing balls and all that goes. I think there's room for optimism that he might be a whole new guy now. We've never had a three-pitch Aroldis Chapman in Yankee pinstripes. A true three-pitch pitcher, no. So that's where my excitement comes, is the fact that it looks like he's starting to become, even if he's throwing 95, 96, it looks like we have a real true three-pitch pitcher, which is scary. Like, it's not fastball, and if he can't locate the fastball, then it's hanging slider after hanging slider. He's comfortable going to the splitter now. He's throwing his fastball again. He's throwing it for strikes. He's got 16 walks to 42 strikeouts since July 6th. So, I don't know. That's just me. That is why I'm actually confident in him this time, and
I'm with you.
I'm saying that, trust me, I am not saying this confidently. It's not like I'm going to like shout it to the world that Chapman's back and he's, this dominant closer again. But I'm saying, as far as room for optimism goes, that's why I'm optimistic that he can be the closer the top tier cream of the crop closer that you signed him to, is because he's made major league adjustments and all three of his pitches are plus pitches right now, and he's locating them. So there's my spiel.
Cheers to Chapman being
way
back.
To drink beer, Damon.
Huh?
It's a way to drink beer, Damon. Oh, that was you.
Yeah, that's me.
Cracked your beer so loudly into the microphone.
Just want another pumpkin beer, but I'm fully with you with and if you're listening to this show and you don't like pumpkin beer, I don't like you. But yeah, no, I mean, I think it's an entirely different conversation if Chapman hadn't been pitching this well for the last month and a half, because we would have a serious issue on our hands, because the answer would be Loizaga, like I said before, to be that closer, the de facto closer, but he's borderline going to have an hour of rest leading up to his first start. He's going to be he'll be activated. He'll be activated off the IL, and it'll be like, all right, go clean up the 8th inning tonight. Like that's how much rest
in the World Series.
Yeah, exactly. In the wild card game, and that's what we're looking at. So I don't know if I trust that. As great as as much as I like Loizaga, and I do think that had Chapman even if Chapman had been pitching bad, I still think I think it's Chapman's role.
No, I agree. My whole thing is, I think the pitch mix is so, and I don't think Matt Blake gets enough credit. Honestly, I was thinking about this today. People shit on the coaching staff, and rightfully so, but don't gear your anger towards Matt Blake. Matt Blake has done wonders with this team. Outside of Cole, we've had a revolving door of 2 through 5 starters, and right now, here's your two truths and a lie. Do the Yankees actually have the fucking tied for the Rays with the 6th best rotation in Major League Baseball? Like, Matt Blake's done wonders on this team, and hats off to him. If you want to fire the whole staff, including Cashman, and maybe Hal will, sell the team too, then goodbye me. But keep Matt Blake. Maybe he'll sell the team to Matt Blake, because I like Matt Blake. I think he's done an awesome job. And Chapman's a perfect example of that. You saw him, once he started getting shelled, they adjusted his whole spot on the mound, everything he was doing, and he was effective again, but he was struggling to dial it back in. What do? They tinker with it some more. They tinker with his pitches. And now here he is. He has his optimal mix of pitches, and he's doing things right again. And inevitably, when he breaks down again, whether it be a month or a year from now, Matt Blake will go in there and he'll fix it again. And he's done it with every pitcher on this team. So, yeah, kudos to you, Matthew. Awesome job.
Agreed. One thing I did want to get into is the just wild card. We talked about the wild card update and everybody else around the league. We're obviously, if the season ended today, would be in the wild card. But one thing we didn't mention is one of the teams that we're not necessarily fighting, but the other one we are. The Rays versus the Blue Jays just happened. And Kevin Kiermaier, that situation, I figured this would be kind of fitting to talk about because I thought it was just interesting that another team is having a qualm. I feel like when you think about the Blue Jays, I never think about them having like a
Scandal.
like a fracas with somebody else. Like whenever, but you know what I mean? Like whenever you think about, Yankees and Red Sox have had their situations between each other that's gotten animated and angry and everything like that. Benches clear, all that. Joe Kelly, all that. Yankees and Rays have had their times where they've not liked each other. I feel like the Blue Jays just never get involved in that sort of thing. Maybe it's because they're from Canada and they're just like, oh, yeah. Meanwhile, nobody from the team is from Canada, so it's like irrelevant. And they haven't been in Canada until recently.
The Blue Jays are apologizing to the Rays for Kiermaier stealing signals.
Yeah, so
Sorry.
I just haven't seen like every other team in this division. Even the Orioles, I feel like, would be more inclined to fight another team than the Blue Jays. But
yeah, what do the Orioles have to lose? If I played on the Orioles, I'd get in a fight every day.
No, I just feel like they're not an animated team, and like seeing this happen. I mean, they had every right to throw a Kiermaier. He full blown. For those of you that didn't see this, he slid into home in that play. When we were watching that, Damon, we were mentioning how I saw it. I was like briefly watching it, and I was like, "There's no way Kiermaier was the one who I think he bunt or no? Oh, no, he hit a ground ball at third base. He hit a ground ball at third base, and he tried to barehand. No, he hit a ground ball at third base, tried to barehand it, and he overthrew first base, and it kept rolling, and he ended up going around and around. He was safe, stand up triple, or went on to get a triple, and then he ended up just like half-ass going home. And when he went home, he actually almost scored because he like did like a matrix slide. Like he didn't fully slide like feet first because they would have tagged him. He just like kind of tried to avoid it, and he almost got in. Like when you look at the replay, but regardless, when he got out from the slide, he ended up just swiping the like lineup card or something.
There's more to that. He laid in front of it. He saw it and looked at it like he tilted his head, was clearly reading it, then picked it up, looked at it, and then just like, oh, whoops, that's not me, and then dropped it.
Well, then he stared to the other. He stared into like the Blue Jays dugout too.
Fucking hate the Rays.
Did you
man.
see?
It's so hard to root for the Rays to win, even when we need them to. Like, and I'm pretty sure Kevin Cash, if somebody accidentally blew a bubble on one of his players, he'd throw a fucking temper tantrum. He's such a bitch. I hate Kevin Cash. And the announcers too were like, well, that's intentional. That is just dirty play. I was like, dude, have you ever watched a fucking baseball game? People throw at each other. Like, sack the fuck up. He hit him square in the middle of the back. He didn't throw at his head. Like, he clearly deserved it. He stealed. Good fucking word, Chandler. He stole signs. Like, get over it.
Did you see him go back into the dugout with it? He discreetly handed it to the coach like you're doing a drug deal. Like when you dap up somebody and you got the money in your hand and they got the bag.
Yeah.
Not that I know what that is, but when he did that, he didn't even look at him in the eyes. He just did it.
Yeah, that's definitely my team's plays. I just didn't want the Blue Jays to see it. That's why. Fuck, I actually hate
and obviously to continue the storytelling, the Blue Jays obviously saw it, and they were like, "Hey, Kevin Kiermaier, he stole our signs," and then they threw at him. So
good.
And I don't know why Kiermaier was like upset about it. You very obviously stole the sign. So
Dude, Kevin Kiermaier keeps like trying to defend it too.
sign. What?
Like in every interview that Kevin Kiermaier has, he's like, "It's just getting old, man. Like I just don't get it. Like I clearly didn't do it on purpose. Like, hey Kevin, just shut the fuck up. You clearly did it on purpose. Take your like 92-mile-an-hour fastball in the meat and like get over it. Like you're fucking fine. Like, why are you gonna
Yeah.
sit here and make a huge scene after you clearly stole the sheet? I don't think that the sheet's gonna give you that big of an advantage. No, but like,
I wonder what the sheet said. What if the sheet said like "fuck you, Kevin," and it was
I
like
wish
a
it did.
it was like
Yeah.
a decoy piece of paper that it was like we knew Kevin Kiermaier would steal this, so he left it out for him, and he would be upset when he saw it.
Well, I don't know how true this is, but I saw something that was like, one of the Blue Jays coaches said that, like, if there's any like scouting report piece of paper that the players have that they don't want the other team to see, it's that one.
Oh
do you
no, I'm
mean?
sure it is. It's the one. It's the catchers.
Like,
It's
that's
basically-
like-
it's like their game plan for the whole
That's
thing.
like has the most information about what the team is doing.
That one did.
That one did, yeah.
Like,
But
yeah,
apparently
Kevin Kiermaier
they gave it
looked
back
at
to
on
him
accident.
and whatever.
Are we looking
His-
at another Astros sign stealing scandal on our hands?
Well, no, I think this
it's
is just like
Kevin
this. I mean,
Kiermaier
it was
being
literally
a
in front of
piece
him.
shit.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Just more
It
reason
was
to
so
hate the
funny.
Rays.
I actually saw something. I think it was like John Heyman, which whatever, but it was funny. It was like, yeah,
Which
so
whatever is the perfect way to describe it. Which
Yeah,
whatever.
but-
Fuck John Heyman.
But no, he was like, yeah, somebody tried to defend him. He's like, let me ask you this. If you dropped $100 bill out of your wallet, like, and somebody else runs across it behind you, is that yours? Like, what if you drop a picture of your family and somebody picks it up? Do they just get to keep the picture of your family? It's like, fair. Like,
Fair.
fair
You're right,
point.
John.
I hate Kevin Kiermaier and I hate the fucking Rays. They're so unlikable. I
just
hate Kevin Cash.
could
if
you
I
imagine
could punch one guy right in the dick, it'd be Kevin Cash.
could you imagine a world where they win the World Series?
If the Rays win the World
yeah,
Series,
very
That's
easily.
that's my one team that I just like any of these contenders I would love. Even the Red Sox, honestly. I'd rather have them win it. They won't, but
I agree with that. I'd rather
they're
than win
just
than.
so
Rays.
unlikable.
like I genuinely believe we're not gonna win the World Series, but to those people who say like we don't deserve to make the playoffs, like we said last episode, you're ridiculous because if October comes around and you're not watching the Yankees play baseball, that's gonna be upsetting. So
I'm not saying no, I totally agree. You should be watching. I want to make. I think you're saying people that say I don't want to make the playoffs. We don't deserve to make the playoffs.
no, but who gives a fuck about deserving to make the playoffs?
No, not at all. I'm just.
I don't give a fuck if you deserve to
just
make it or not. I
responding
want to
to what
watch
you
this team
said.
play. I want to watch
No,
this
I
team
do
play.
too. I will watch every single inning, and I'll probably watch the pregame and postgame show. I'm just saying, deserving wise, which is what you said, we
No, of
definitely
course
don't
not.
deserve it.
But Chandler, what we were talking about this last time because that was a hot topic last episode where we were saying, you know, the main difference between like there's a difference when you talk about NFL versus MLB. If this were the Eagles, like I'm an Eagles fan, like I said, and I'll keep this brief because we talked about it last episode. Like there's reason to miss the playoffs if you don't think you have it in you to win the whole damn thing because you get better draft capital and that matters in the NFL draft. In the MLB draft, that doesn't fucking matter. If we have the 12th pick versus the 15th pick, that is not a big difference, but it is in the NFL draft. So that's why, like you see right now, you get Devonta Smith instead of Joe Schmo, linebacker. Like you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
there's
Oh,
no
breaking
benefit.
news,
There's
though.
no benefit to missing the playoffs and ending as the first team out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. But breaking news, I don't think we officially broke the news that the Blue Jays lost to the Twins. Officially.
Woo!
We
So-
have a
so
full
Right now,
game.
what's the wild card standings?
We are 2 games behind the Boston Red Sox and have a full game lead.
2? I thought it was
over-
1.5.
I was wrong. And then we have a no. They had a 1.5 above the Blue Jays who lost. So that's where I was wrong.
Okay.
So the Red Sox are 2 ahead of us and 3 ahead of the Blue Jays who are 1 game behind us. And honestly, Seattle's only 1 game behind the Blue Jays.
Yeah, but Seattle doesn't matter though. Like,
they do though.
But they don't. Like, to us, they don't.
No, well,
Well, no, me and Damon were talking about this too before. Like, a scenario where we have to worry about Oakland/Seattle is a scenario where we have lost enough games to make that matter. Because the people that we're directly chasing, yes, because the people that we're directly chasing are the people that are ahead of us, and we're playing them directly head to head. So if we don't win, if we lose enough games to make them catch up to us, we've already lost, because the two teams that we lost.
Games, though, is what I'm saying. We can win enough games to where they're a factor. Because if we win
they
enough,
don't directly affect our playoff
but then
chances.
we'll already be in it. I'm saying the only way that they take.
I'm talking matchup wise.
No. Yeah. I agree. But I'm saying the only way they overtake our spot would be.
Oh no.
We would have to lose enough to let them in.
No, I'm talking matchup wise. I understand that. I'm just saying the way that the Yankees play the next 6 games directly affects the Mariners and the A's. That's what we're on the same team here. Don't get aggressive at me.
No one was.
I know where you live, and I'll be in New York in
can't wait
13 hours.
Next topic I want to get into
heart melts.
Was I want to keep this really brief because we talked about it almost every episode from the last couple months on, so nobody wants to hear this who's listening to it. Is the Voit Rizzo thing, and Damon just brought it up via tweet the other day, and he was saying, what we've been saying all fucking season long is like, but especially now that we have 10 games left, 9 now, why is it so hard to have Voit and Rizzo in the same lineup? And that's honestly, don't even respond to my comment there, because that's where we'll end it. We all are on the same page there. It should not be that difficult to get them in the lineup. They should be in the lineup every fucking day. We said that. They didn't do it. It is what it is at this point. It's almost like we don't have our fucking playoff lives on the line. I just hope here's the thing. I hope that they play in the Red Sox series, but I know they won't. One game, Stan's gonna DH, and then Voigt's gonna sit, or vice versa.
I mean, I think the damage. I will say this though. This is kind of news, at least to me. I don't know if you guys talked about it last episode or not, but I think the damage to Luke Voigt and the Yankees' relationship is beyond repair. I don't think you can fix this. I think the only option now is to either sign Rizzo or sign a shortstop. But whatever the thing is, sign a shortstop, move DJ, Glaber, whatever. I don't think Luke Voigt's on this team come 2022. I think the damage has been done. Like the day that he did the Stone Cold with the water bottles when they were losing by like 15.
Mm-hmm.
That was when it was over. You took a guy that wanted to be a Yankee and you ruined it for Brett Gardner to keep getting at bats. Essentially is what it is at the end of the day. It's either to get Brett Gardner at bats or to overprotect Stanton. So I think that relationship's ended, which is really sad because I like Luke Voigt. But
yeah, I mean, any way you put it,
he's not going to get consistent at bats. It doesn't matter what he does.
Yeah, I mean, like I was really surprised reading all of the comments about what people thought about Luke Voigt, because a lot of them were saying, they were all backing up Gardner, saying, "Oh, well, where's Gardner gonna play?" Like always like random bullshit.
Bench.
And like they're also saying like, "Oh, Luke Voigt hasn't been that good." Well, yeah, because you fucking.
He has though. He has a 146 WRC plus since he's been off the IL.
Well, it's not even that. It's just like it's the level of inconsistency that they've been playing him. And I know we're beating a dead horse here because we talk about it so much, but it's frustrating. And again, we have 9 games left to play, and like we mentioned before in the episode, like these are all going to be wild card like games. They are all going to be essentially playoff games in everyone's eyes, and we need to treat them that way. We can't continue to play for and manage for the next day because there might not be a next day. You literally need to plan for the game that we're playing, because that could literally determine our chances to play in October or not. And I want to see the best team out there the rest of the way throughout the entire season, because there's no other way to manage it.
I legitimately don't think the Yankees have their best chance to win. That's the thing. I legitimately believe that the Yankees think of Luke Voigt as a bench player, and that's it.
Which is ridiculous when you think about what he's done for the team since he come to the Yankees. Like,
No,
since
it is.
coming
Like,
from the Cardinals, he's been probably one of the best players, if not the best
he was
player on the
MVP
Yankees
last year for the team.
because he literally has been available, and
he was a top 5 MVP.
he was
in
one of the
American
only
League.
ones that was available during the times where the replacement players were playing. Him and DJ held down the fort.
It's sad, man. They've treated him so poorly this year. He just that relationship's tarnished. There's no coming back from the way you've treated Luke Voigt this year. And that's, like I said, that is the saddest part, is that I don't think it's like a blind loyalty or anything like that, that like, oh, there's not a spot for him. I don't think that the Yankees realize what they have. I don't think that they like understand that having Luke Voigt in your lineup benefits you so much.
Which
Who
sucks
you,
also.
what are you gonna do when you have that row of Judge, Gallo, Stanton, Voigt, Glaber, Gio, and then you have Brett Gardner, and they're like, okay, well, we can pitch around Brett Gardner, or we can pitch around Judge rather and get to Brett Gardner, or we can pitch around Rizzo or whatever. You can't pitch if you have all those bats in lineup and you are playing your full healthy lineup. There is not a hole outside of the catcher position. But even then, like you said, like Higgy, who, whatever, we're not going to have the catcher debate
has
right now. But
17
Higgy,
barrels.
he has a higher barrel percentage than Joey
18
Gallo.
barrels, actually. He has
more barrels than Joey Gallo.
18
what I'm
versus
saying.
17. It's close,
You
but
can't. You can pitch around to get to Higgy, but
No
it's not like
cigar.
you're pitching to a scrub. I
yeah,
don't know.
no, and more
I just
on
don't get
this.
it. You're giving
this-
yourself a glaring weakness offensively intentionally.
Yeah, and last comment I have on the Gallo or the Rizzo Voigt situation is that it may be that the situation or the relationship is beyond repair for Voigt. I don't see us re-signing Rizzo.
I don't
I
either.
just
I
don't.
think
I
the
feel
most
like the
likely
Yankees don't love it. I feel like
think the most likely
he
scenario-
makes sense. He makes sense to have, but I just feel like they haven't like overly loved having Rizzo to the point where he's worth re-signing to. Like, I don't know. I feel like they're arguably naive to the fact that their relationship with Voigt is tarnished to the point where they probably think that they can get Voigt back, and then when he leaves, as well as I don't know what his contract situation is, but when
He has
when
3
they're
more years.
all right, so he's here, so it's up to them to trade or keep.
I think the most likely scenario, and to me it's almost inevitable at this point, is that they're going to shift DJ to first and sign one of the big shortstops.
So that they would have to sign Rizzo first because then they would trade Voigt away, and then they could do that. That would, and I would honestly be okay with that because of how badly they've treated Voigt. Like, yeah, I'd rather keep Voigt, but if you could move DJ to first, who is fine there, that's perfectly okay
Keep
with me.
Glaber
And then
as
if you get
second
Corey
base.
Seager, I'm cool with that. Like, that's fine. That's a conversation for the offseason, but let's end it there because this is a whole can of worms that we can continue talking about forever. I wanted to get into we talked about Sevy returning, and he pitched. We haven't changed our expectations for him, but we talked about our expectations for Sevy. Now Domingo returns. What are our expectations for Domingo? Because he isn't necessarily slated to be a starter any of these games, like we mentioned before. The starters for this series are Cole, Nestor, and Monty, but he's probably going to come out of the pen, so I feel like the expectation for Domingo is similar to that of what we had for Sevy, maybe to a lesser degree, but also not, in my mind, it's not to a lesser degree in terms, it's almost identical in terms of my expectation for the two, because they're both starters moving to the pen because of injury, obviously, but Domingo has pitched this year a lot, so we know what we're getting out of Domingo. Domingo's been very good this year, and Sevy, there was more of a question as, like, Sevy definitely has more of a talent, but there's more of a question as to, what Sevy are we going to see? We've seen him in the minors. Are we going to see that translate on the major league level? So that's been a question. So, with the talent obviously is better in Sevy's case, but, with the not pitching in a while versus Domingo pitching recently and the lesser amount of talent, I think I almost think exactly the same of the two of them. Like my expectation for the two of them, I feel like is the same exact thing, and it hasn't changed from Sevy's recent outing and Domingo's lack thereof of a recent outing. I think they're going to be very equal in my mind.
I just think Sevy's just so much more talented and has
I
experience.
agree. That's what I said.
No, I know. I don't look at him equal. I don't expect Domingo to be a great or even good bullpen arm. Really,
I think he's going to be very, very helpful.
I think he'll be. I really don't think he's
had a
going to
great
be
year.
like. I don't think he's going to be a game changer out of the bullpen. He's
I
not a
disagree
good
with
bullpen
that.
pitcher.
I
Like I think he'll be fine.
He's going to directly have an impact on not seeing Andrew Heaney throw anything. So
No, that in that regard, then he's like my saving grace. If I ever have to watch Andrew Heaney put pinstripes on again, I might become a Marlins fan. I might. Like I legitimately despise Andrew Heaney. I've never seen a person.
We didn't talk about him anymore. It's okay.
No, well, you brought it up, and now I'm mad. I would rather miss the playoffs than watch Andrew Heaney pitch again.
All right.
He's not going to. So we've shunned him on this podcast.
I don't mean that either. But still, fuck.
I kind of mean that. But yeah, I mean, I genuinely believe Domingo is going to be a big part of the reason why if we do make a run, Domingo will have a large hand to play in that because
he has to.
Yeah.
Like I don't believe necessarily, like logically speaking. Obviously, I hope we make a run. I hope we win the World Series 100 times in a row. I don't think that they're going to at all, and I don't think Domingo's going to be great. I hope he is, but I think he'll be just fine. I think the ceiling for Sevy and my expectations for him out of the bullpen are a lot higher than my expectations for Domingo.
Do you know what gets me a little bit more? Yeah, like I think the odds of winning the World Series are very slim. I hope they do. I think they're slim, but you know what gets me a little bit excited about this team and about the way they're kind of built and the way it's kind of like formulating now?
Tell me, Luke.
Is that the relievers we're going to have at the start of the playoffs? Like when you think about it, for the most part, the relievers we're going to rely on are all guys who can go long. Like you think about Domingo, Sevy, converted starters, Mike King, Loizaga, who can go long, has been a converted starter. All these guys, like that's four guys right there that can go long. Nestor Cortez is going to move to the bullpen. That's a guy who can go four. Nestor Cortez can go two. I mean, Chad Green can go two. That is now 7 or 8 guys, and unless I'm forgetting some other people, but like for the majority, not Wandy. Wandy is a reliever, but when you think about the majority of our bullpen is guys who are converted starters as of recently too, that can go very deep into games. Obviously, they're coming off injuries, so maybe that can knock that down a touch, but like. We don't have guys who go one inning and done for the most part. I feel like we have like 3 or 4 of those guys, and even those guys in the playoffs, you throw a little more during those times. Like Chapman's going to go 2 probably. Like you expect more out of these guys. I think that's a little bit of a part of me that is just I'm a little more confident about that because when you look at that and then you look at the rest of the rotation, like where does Luis Heel fit into a playoff rotation? Is he going to get a start? Probably. I think he gets to start, but then what? It depends. It depends on the type of series. Like if it's a 7-game series, then he does. But if it's a 5-game, he doesn't. But regardless, so in an ALDS, let's say we move on from the wild card, where does he move in? Now we have another guy that potentially can move into the bullpen as a starter. We have a lot of innings to move around, is my point. We're way deeper with the addition of Sevy, Domingo, Loizaga whenever he comes back. Like these guys, you don't realize the impact that has, having guys that can actually just eat innings like that aren't named Andrew Heaney. Like that makes this team a lot better. Like for the last couple months, I feel like the 6th and 7th innings, if your starter didn't go that far, Like, you're kind of just fucking piecemealing it together and figuring it out. But now, when you have guys that can just throw innings that are starters that could borderline get a start the next day, like, I'm confident in that. I genuinely believe that.
Is, what if you get to like a game 5 or even a game 3 where in a shorter playoff series or longer, whatever the case may be, what if you get to one of these do or die games and your rotation's spent and you're faced between either starting a guy on short rest or tossing a combination of King, Sevy, Loizaga, Domingo? I feel a lot more comfortable in a bullpen game when you've got a bullpen of guys, or a stable of guys, as douchebag Kevin Cash likes to say, that can all go multiple innings, right? Like, don't you feel a lot more confident going into? I think we had a bullpen game in the last year or two in the playoffs, and it was like Chad Green to whatever, and you burn 9 relievers. Here you can have a bullpen game, but you can use 3 or 4 guys. You can go from King to Sevy to whoever and only use 4 pitchers. So I mean, it's a huge weapon in a short series. You don't have to throw Cole on 3 days rest if you don't want to, or if you don't absolutely need it.
Agreed. Do you guys want to get into rounding third?
Sure.
So rounding third, first up, Andrew, we asked you guys to give us buy or sell topics that we could talk about on the podcast, and you guys have done it again. You guys have gave us some great ones this time. So first rounding third comes to us from Andrew Robbins on Instagram. So Luis Severino replaces Chapman as the closer. Chandler, what do you think?
No.
Absolutely no.
Yeah, no, that's...
He's too valuable as a starter.
He's pitched 2 innings.
However,
and he's also pitched 21 innings in the last 3 years.
Yeah, and I think we debunked that too. I think Chapman's obviously going to be getting the closer role. But I do think Luis Severino, expecting, hopefully this playoffs goes deep, I could see Luis Severino having a lot of high leverage spots. I don't know how I feel about it, considering how he's fared with high leverage spots in the past in playoffs. But I mean, we don't really have many other options.
I don't hate the take necessarily. I just don't think there's just too many moving parts. I don't see it happening.
Agreed.
But I like it. I like the boldness.
Next one comes to us from on Instagram. No fucking cap is his name, and he said release Voit next year, keep Rizzo. We kind of touched on that before as well, but I mean, there's no situation where you release Voit.
Why would you? Yeah, no, you can't release a guy who finished top 5 in MVP as having another decent year and has 3 years of team control.
So let's say he didn't mean the words release. Let's say he means trade.
Trade or keep him. Yeah.
I could see if he'll be traded. He will not be a Yankee for much longer.
Yeah, I agree.
Think.
Yeah, I think the relationship's fucked. Void has been open about it, but I mean, I wish it wasn't this way. I just don't think. I think the real scenario is that you trade Voit, and then the way I see it playing out is they probably dysfunctionally trade Voit before knowing they could re-sign Rizzo, and then Rizzo leaves, and then they're like just stuck with their hand and their dick in their hand.
Yeah,
that's how I see it playing out. But I don't know. Next one comes to us from Alicia Mary. Tyler Wade should be getting starts at shortstop so DJ and Gio can go back to second and third base.
Not the way like Gleyber's playing right now. Listen, I think that Tyler Wade is going to have a massive impact the rest of the season and hopefully in the playoffs, because whenever he's on the field, something exciting seems to happen. But the thing is, though, like you can't really justify starting the guy, which is, obviously his defense is there. His hitting has been better. But, Gleyber Torres, when he's hot, is still Gleyber Torres, and we haven't seen, the Gleyber Torres that he was when he came in as a rookie. But, you can't put Tyler Wade over that guy. But I do think that he's going to get a lot of playing time come late innings in these games. I really enjoy Boone making that decision to put him in those situations, even in like the 7th or 8th inning, because it shows that he sees an opportunity to put him in there and he trusts him to go out there and do his thing.
No,
Did you
it'll
guys
be
see him?
exactly what he was up here for. He's going to be a pinch runner. He's going to be a defensive replacement, and that's about it.
Which is great. I think he does that
No,
role. He does that role perfectly.
Did you
Cannot
guys see him?
complain
When I was at the game yesterday, did you guys see him at third?
Doing what?
I said to everybody around me too, I was like, this dude's gonna steal home. And he almost stole. He was like, I don't know if the camera showed it because, like I said,
they did show it.
I was at the game. But he was like,
Were you at the game yesterday?
I was at the
Were
game.
you behind home plate?
I was
I
behind
don't
home
think
plate.
you mentioned it
It
yet.
was really cool.
Really? Did your friend get those tickets for free?
He did. He responded to some guy on Twitter. But
Really?
he, like, I said that around, and I was like, I would love it if he did. I would love it if he did steal home. And he was like doing it. He was like trying it. He was halfway. I mean, nobody was covering him on third, and he was halfway down the line, and he was just doing that dance thing just to piss off the pitcher. He didn't end up going, but I feel like he could have actually made it. I don't know. That would be electric. Imagine Tyler Wade stealing home in a playoff
Worked
game.
out well too because we struck out twice and popped up after he stole second and third. So go team. That right there is that inning right there is why I don't believe that this team can win a World Series. I think they could make the playoffs, but Tyler Wade stole second and third on a leadoff walk and strikeout, pop up. Like from your 1-2-3 hitter.
So with this take, I don't agree with it as well, but I do see where she's coming from at the fact that like, we need Tyler Wade in the lineup in some way or another.
On the team.
We need him to play. We need him to have an impact on games, whether it be and I think it will probably just end up being him being a defensive replacement if it comes down to it in close game, and then he ends up being the guy who can steal as well. Or he like whatever comes first, him having a pinch run opportunity or him being defensive replacement, and then he just stays in the game. I think that's going to be his role. That's
his only role.
That's it. So, but that's important. Like I'm very happy he's there, and like he has like a 270 batting average this year. So, like the argument that she's making is not incredibly off base. It's just Glaber has been hitting well for the last month, so. Had he been hitting the way he had before this month all year, then yeah, I think we can actually have that conversation, but
yeah,
not right now. Next one comes to us from Logan Calavita. Said Nestor starts the wild card game. We talked about this before. I think, if we go game 163, there is the conversation to be had because of how good he's been this year, but I think it still goes to Monty in my opinion, but
no, I agree.
Yep, agree.
Next one comes to us from Minky Picks. He said, this team will ultimately break my heart. I wholeheartedly agree with that, Minky Picks.
I will get broken.
I think this team has, time and time again, I've given up on this team, and then they've roped me back in, and I've given up on them, and they've roped me back in. That entire cycle has happened maybe 55 times this year.
Yep.
So,
they're gonna end up missing the playoffs and breaking my heart.
And I'm ready to be broken again.
I am ready to have my heart broken. Two more. Next one comes to us from Moses_CW on Instagram. Resign Gardy for another year as your fourth outfielder. He's been as far as fourth outfielders go, he's been excellent.
He's not a fourth outfielder. He will never be a fourth. He will never be a fourth outfielder as long as he's on the Yankees. It doesn't matter. Even when Clint was here, the minute Clint had like 2 bad games, they benched him. No. I don't want Brett Gardner
I'd rather
back.
see Florial get consistent playing time.
Yes, dude. Florial's like
Fucking
24 now.
Dominguez.
Fuck it.
Give me Brandon Lockridge.
Give me Brandon Lockridge.
Brandon Lockridge or die.
Brandon Lockridge or bust.
Agreed.
If you guys don't know who Brandon Lockridge is, look him up. He's going to be the future of the Yankees, and he's our friend. So
Agreed. Yeah, he's cool.
I could beat him in a 40-yard dash. So next one comes to us from Whoa Nelly. Benches clear at least one time this series. # Team Odor.
I hope so.
I like that.
I don't think it will happen because
I do.
Really?
I do.
I'm in. I'm sold.
I'll buy
Cole's
that.
gonna hit somebody and they're gonna freak out. I think more
Said
likely
hashtag Team Odor.
Oh yeah,
You
Odor's
think
gonna,
Odor starts it?
He has to.
I hope so.
If he doesn't
When's
start
the
it,
last time
he's
Odor
always the first
played?
man out.
If he doesn't start, he'll finish it.
Goddamn right.
Damon has to run a 5K this Sunday.
Yeah, I feel like
no
shit
thanks.
right now.
Dude, the fact that you're running a 5K makes me want to leave New York a day.
I'm
early.
doing it for the community.
No, you're not. You're getting a beer at the end. That's
I
why.
paid for it.
So what's the point? You can just go to a bar with me and Chandler on Sunday. Regardless, let's get back into this.
Like
I
7
genuinely
a.m.
do. I genuinely do believe that there will be a fight. I think tensions are going to be high.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm excited.
I think the more likely scenario is a fight against the Rays in a meaningless game. Like somebody's gonna Monty's
don't know how you-
accidentally gonna throw a changeup that is low and inside, and Kevin Cash is gonna start like he might actually break down and cry in the press conference. Be like, he's just endangering my guys. Like, dude, he threw it like 16 inches away from your guy's kneecap, and it was a changeup. But fuck him.
But
I hope there's a fight.
I think there will be a fight. I think that'll do it for me. If you guys have anything else you want to talk about, I think that is it for tonight. Yankees play tomorrow. I think it's at 7:05. Garrett Cole versus Nathan Eovaldi. I am beyond pumped for that. I wanted to go to Boston for this series. Didn't make it. I have to work, but it would be a fucking awesome series to go to if you are going.
Let's go Yanks.
Have a blast. Go Yanks. As always, if you give us a 5-star rating and a review, I will literally swallow a baseball whole if that is what you're into. That is something that
That's what gets you going.
I'll wash it down with a pumpkin beer if that's what gets you up in the morning. Watching a live stream of me swallowing a baseball whole. You could give us a 5-star rating on iTunes and subscribe to the YouTube at Bronx Pinstripes. And if you want to follow us at the 161 Boys on Twitter and Instagram, that'd be fantastic as well. But that will be it for me.
Let's do it.
Ooh, the next